The reason for her supposed suicide was because she betrayed Bretley and felt guilty. Ridiculous. The true traitor lived happily, whilst she had to carry the brand of a cheater, even in her death. For everything they owed her, she would make them pay with their blood. Of course, there was also Nigel's body. The woman sighed heavily as she turned toward and, "How's the job opening I asked you to look into?" And looked slightly awkward. "I asked someone to inquire into it, but at the moment, there's no opening for any position in the Morrison Group except for a cleaner." Bethan's lips curled into a smile. "I'll be a cleaner then." "How can you do that?" And understood well enough the hardships Bethan went through these past few years. 6 years ago, she struggled to survive after her accident. She waited until her 3 children were born before she started her plastic surgery and physiotherapy, and then began a new life. She eventually became a renowned jewelry designer in Europe, but all of a sudden, she gave up her fame and glory and announced her retirement, returning to Banyan City under her own name. And now she wanted to work at the Morrison Group as a cleaner. "Actually, there are plenty of suitable jobs for you here at Banyan City besides at the Morrison Group." Bethan shook her head. "I only want to join the Morrison Group." The apartment that and found for Bethan belonged to her relative, and it stood empty all year round. It was not far from the city center, and it was fairly spacious with 3 rooms and a living room. Bethan and her 2 children entered the apartment and spent half the day cleaning and tidying things up, and by the time they were done, it was already afternoon. "Neil, take care of your sister. I'm going out to buy some daily necessities." "Okay." After the door closed behind her, the 2 children rushed to switch on the laptop as Bretley's interview played on the laptop screen. "Neil, is this Daddy?" Nellie hugged her furry teddy bear to her chest and bit her lip. "You're right, between the 3 of us, he looks the most similar to me." "Yeah." Neil raised his eyes, looked at the man on the screen, and squinted. "Do you remember what I taught you?" "Yeah." Nellie nodded as she balled her fists, and her cute, childish voice sounded serious as she spoke. "I'll act as best as I can." After she left the neighborhood, Bethan hailed a taxi to the nearest department store. As she headed to the cashier, she heard a familiar woman's voice. "I didn't expect everyone to be so interested in my and Bretley's wedding." The voice came from the large screen in front of the store.